Hello. So today I'm going to talk about solving algebraic equations with variables on both sides and the three videos that I researched to just compare like different lessons, and one that was effective, one ineffective, and one creative. And so the first one I researched was by this content creator called The Magic of Math is the name of her channel. Oh, oops.
Hi, welcome.
Go back to her. Sorry. There. And her lesson was very effective because she went over the lesson objectives at the very start, like what the goal was and what the question was that they were going to be answering. And then prior to doing any of the equations, she went through the 6 steps for solving it. So this is like the play-by-play of exactly what to do, and so that there is very consistent language. So what happened was she went through the steps, and then she would do the problem and also check the problem as well, which is something that I would love to utilize when teaching this lesson, would be to not only teach how to do the problem, but also how to check that the answer is correct. But before she did like 7 questions, and before she did each question, she walked through these steps again. So she went through them before each question. And I think that repetition really was very effective because it helps the language be so consistent so that when a student is looking at the math problem, they can walk through those steps in their head because they've heard them again and again and again and are able to use them. So that was really cool. The lesson that I found ineffective was by Math with Mr. J. And so he did his lesson in, like, he used very consistent language. He also checked his answers, which is something that I would really like to use. And so both Magic of Math and Mr. J, they did that. But what was a little bit tricky is that it was about a 10-minute long video as compared to Magic of Math, which I think was 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. And this was what the screen looked like the whole time. So as far as like teaching elementary students this content, it was lacking engagement because he spoke in the same tone, and this is what the page looked like, and he just drew the equations out as he walked through it. So something that I would do to improve upon it would be to maybe give some more visuals or ways that students could engage with the content. And then Mike DeVore, this video was really interesting, so I chose this as my creative because I didn't see any other videos like it while I was walking through. I was doing my research. He utilized this pause button, and what I thought was really cool about that was that it gave kids the opportunity to know what the expectation was, that the expectation was that they did it first and then he would do it. And so he would put the problem, they did number 1 together, and then he would put the problem up, have them pause, give a couple seconds, and then he would go into the explanation. But I think that the visual is really helpful so that students can see it and be like, oh, that's right, I need to pause and hit the pause button. And then I also just really liked all of the use of color. I think it just made it a lot more engaging. And the way that he divided it was something I hadn't seen in other videos, between this side of the equal sign, the left and right side of the equal sign. Which I think is a very good visual for those kids to be like, what do you mean? We're moving the X from one side to the other. I don't get why or what the other side is. Because prior to doing algebraic equations, students are familiar with x plus y equals answer. And so having multiple things on either side of the equal sign is something that they're they're processing, they're trying to figure out how to do. And so seeing it in that color coordinated way, I think was really cool. So overall, I would say that the things I would want to take away from each of these 3 lessons are the use of visuals, is the use of checking for the correct answer to make sure that we did it right, going through all the checks. And then also just going through the expectations and using consistent language, I think, is very important to have a lesson land effectively so that kids are not being thrown around by different terminologies every time we go through a problem. You know, that consistent language is very important.